We're going to move to Brother Horace. Brother Horace, we welcome you. We welcome you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for inviting me to give honor to our women, our mothers, our sisters, our aunts, our daughters, and all women to whom, for whom the past month we've rendered this remembrance and tribute to feminine excellence. And that's here in modern times, and of course to our ancestors, both male and female, who added value to the virtues of the feminine principle. And when I use the term feminine principle, I say it in terms of women as a fundamental, primary, or general law of truth from which all other principles are derived. And truly, our ancient mothers were the mothers of civilization. So truth be told, this month has been long overdue. Women in general have been more or less ignored, hidden, copied, blatantly usurped. Their images have been distorted, scandalized to the detriment of humanity. And in light of the ongoing political and socially engendered attacks on our African ancestors' ancient matriarchal or matrifocal societies, I continue to go on and give honor to our great women. And I just want to say to our women that you have us on your side. You have males in your corner who are not afraid to acknowledge the contributions that you've made throughout history. So I wanted to give honor to some very, very prominent women in history. And this group of women, I'm going to say that they are mathematical geniuses. And so we really, really need to understand that in the Egyptian cosmogony, Ma'at actually is associated with math, mathematics, astronomy, science, which is, I would say, a field that a lot of men think that women have never had any part in. So let's just look at a few. I'm going to name a few. Most of these women work with NASA, like Mary Jackson, Dorothy Lavinia Brown, who was the first African-American female surgeon who practiced in the southeastern part of the United States. Rebecca Lee Crumpler, first African-American woman to become a physician and graduating from the New England Female Medical College as a doctor of medicine in 1864. Dr. Mary Daly, first African-American woman to earn a PhD in chemistry in the US. And she earned her doctorate from Columbia University in 1947 and devoted her life to research and education, teaching and working as a biochemist. Mary Jackson, NASA's first African-American female engineer. She became an aeronautical engineer in 1958. And just listen to these dates. These are dates where women were still subjugated, and they were still able to be successful in their careers. Dr. Shirley Jackson, first African-American woman to graduate with a PhD in physics in the US. And the first African-American woman to graduate with a PhD from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. She received the National Medal of Science in 2015 during the presidency of Barack Obama. Katherine Johnson, she was a NASA calculations specialist for several space missions. And these are all modern women. But I don't want to leave out our ancient divine mothers. One that comes to my mind is Hypatia from Alexandria, Egypt. She was a scientific mathematical genius and inventor, and a woman's right advocate in 350 to 370 AD, born in Alexandria, Egypt. So today we're honoring women, the divine feminine. Of course, this list is short. We have numerous luminaries among us today that you will hear from later on today. And I just feel honored to be here with this group of beautiful souls. But my main objective today is to try to reconnect our women to their psychological and spiritual power, which was usurped from them by a patriarchal dominated political and religious system. One that misappropriated the divine legacy of Africa's divine mother, goddesses, priestess, oracles, sibyls, prophetesses, and their traditional African spiritual systems, which I feel are going to be absolutely necessary to us in order for us to come back, and for the woman to come back into her natural matriarchal system of power. We have to realize that our female deities were once worshipped throughout the world. And not to get too deep into it, but it would be a long story in order for us to tell the story of how this power was usurped from our women. So again, let's appreciate this African woman, her divine essence on this day and every day. And with that, I'll say thank you. And peace and blessings to you all.
And thank you for sharing. Bless us all. Yes, indeed. And so we're grateful for that sharing, and we will move to our next luminary, Angelique Gonzalez. We welcome you.
Thank you so much. It's truly a blessing to be here with you all, and the insight that you have given just in this time is miraculous, and I can't wait to share some of the words and the blessings and teachings that I have learned in just this moment. You probably saw from my bio that on a daily I get to uplift women and remind them of their divine feminine, as I also work with children and doing the same and helping them rebuild that inner belief and inner strength of who they are and what they're capable of. Every day I work with women and survivors, children, men who have and are victims of sexual assault and domestic violence and trafficking. And, one of the greatest things that I get to instill in people is self-love, and the reminder of how important that self-love is, and how giving that and having that self-love, you get to project that onto other people and into the world that we are living in, with all the chaos, surrounding us all. And that it is not an easy task, to remember and to find and to be new to that journey of finding the divine feminine and the strength within. I'm really blessed that I work with and I'm surrounded by women who believe. And I think that that's one of the strongest, attributes that we have, is to be able to believe in the greater good, to believe in oneself, to believe in the positive, and to believe in a change. There is also a quote that I greatly admire, and it's the quote of, I'm no longer accepting the things that I cannot change. I'm changing the things that I cannot accept. And I think that no matter how great or how small that is, and applying that to my daily life, it gives strength, and it gives strength to the women and the survivors that I see on a daily. And I think for me, showing love and showing grace and freedom to be who they are, and acceptance of who they are and who they want to become is, such a great blessing. So, I just come here today to be enlightened, to be inspired, and to, show and share the light that I bring to others as well on a daily basis, and that I live in my own life. So I thank you all for the divine feminine that you all bring, the enlightenment, the freedom, and the belief of a better, and that we are united in so many different ways. It's so beautiful to know that we are sisters, that we are mothers, that we are daughters, that we are family, and that we are joined together in this. So I thank you all for having me. It's a great blessing.
Bless you, and thank you for being here. And we know that you will take what you have garnered from here and to share it with those beautiful sisters that you work with. Thank you for the work that you do with them.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Nana
so we
Nura,
just, yes, we want to check.
thank you so much. You're doing so good. I want you to check your email as well.
Yes, and I just sent a little message because we know sometimes with the time we try to be conscious of that. But I just we wanted to check in with Dr. Nteri just to make sure that she's okay, that you're okay with timing, Dr. Nteri. Well, yes, she needs to be unmuted.
Oh, okay. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, now, dear one.
Oh, yes. I did have to be somewhere at 3, so I was just
okay.
What
we can have you share?
Sure, I'll share. Sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, and Nteri, wonderful. See, we do need you beautiful men. You know what I'm saying? So thank you.
Shall I begin?
Please.
All right. So welcome, everyone, and I'm just so delighted to be here. And thank you, Nteri and Nana Nora, for the invitation to speak about the divine feminine. And I am Dr. Nteri Nelsn, a metaphysician, a licensed clinician, and educator, and co-founder of the Academy of Kemetic Education and Wellness. And just to dovetail a bit on what someone else had said, that, this is really about the unity. And I'm also an author. So one of the books I've authored is Merkaba, the energy body of light, the Kemetic technology for remaking ourselves as beings of light. And in that, I talk about the work of knitting ourselves back together, which is knitting the feminine and the masculine energies within ourselves, raising the fire and uniting that fire within that is the unification of those energies. And that's what really will give us the glow when we unify within. And that is the divine marriage within. I talk about that as the divine marriage between Osir and Oset, for those who may be familiar with the Kemetic wisdom of that the divine trinity of Osir, Oset, and Haru is within us. Haru is the heart. And so that's the son-daughter within us. So we're uniting the father, the mother, and the son-daughter within us in the heart, doing the work of the heart. And so, so when I think about the divine feminine, number one for me is that utmost and exquisite capacity for listening to spirit, called by many names, the intuition. Christians call it the still small voice, but women have that capacity to just, the divine feminine is listening to the spirit within, also called the Tahushan faculty in the Kemetic wisdom. And that ability to be silent and to listen for that guidance and to heed that guidance in this moment and to do the good and perfect thing, and to listen and heed that guidance and do the good and perfect thing in the next moment, in the next, and moment in the next. This is a kind of wordless knowing that when the divine feminine works with, not always that sort of rational step-by-step mind, that goes here, go here, but just in instantaneous knowingness. One just has a feeling that, I'm going to call my sister, or I'm going to check on my neighbor, or I'm going to that school to check on my child, or I'm going to go see what's happening with that child over there that I know that doesn't even belong to me, but something's up. So that it's just that knowingness. And this is what, this is the ability to tap into that that divine archetype within the mind of God or the creator or the nature, just to tap into that divine mind. And Harriet Tubman, someone spoke earlier about Harriet, who was one of my heroes, because Harriet, we saw that in Harriet, that ability to have a plan. All right, we know the plan, we know where we're stopping, and we know how to get to freedom. But Harriet was always listening for guidance every step of the way. And when she got that guidance, even though she had a plan, she would listen, and that plan would cause her to shapeshift and take another course, because that's what listening to divine guidance is. It's to be able to move at any moment when one is guided to do so. Even though you think you have a plan that you're in lockstep, you have a wider GPS that is always guiding you. Another aspect of the divine feminine to me is the nurturing the divine idea in the mind of God, in the mind of the Creator, in the mind of the Neteru, that this is the feminine energy it is the waters of our set within, that emotional realm within, and which is our creative center, which is that fluid, that watery nature, that's imagistic, that is reflective. And what is the Divine Mother reflective of? What is the waters, those emotional waters, reflective of? Those, when they're still in calm, when the emotions are still in calm, the waters of our set, the Divine Mother within us, male and female, the Divine Mother within us is reflective of what? The Divine Father, the image and likeness of the Father within us. So we need to have these waters still and clear and clean. And so this is why it's so important in the Divine Feminine that we are working to hold the highest ideation. We are working to affect erasure of that which would cause fragmentation in those waters, which would fragment the reflection of the divine, the Father within, the Creator within. And we need to erase, have erasure of traumas, that which would pollute. When we talk about waters, people, and we need to go out and clean our oceans, yes, for sure. But those oceans are also reflecting the pollution that's happened within and what has polluted our waters. And so we need to cleanse and clear those waters so that they are reflective of that divine image and likeness of God within. The Father has impregnated those waters with the fullness of his effulgent glory. And the Mother, she is the divine, she is the beholder of the divine archetype and the receiver of higher creative impressions. She is the womb of the one true self. And it is upon her still waters that the luminous mirror reflection of God is seen. So we want to work, there's much to be done with clearing up what is happening, what has happened with the feminine. And so that brings me to the third aspect of the divine feminine that comes to mind, and that is the spiritual warrior of the divine feminine. In her steadfast, persevering devotion to regather the broken body of Osir or of her beloved. And that broken body, that fragmentation, symbolizes the brokenness in consciousness. And the knitting ourselves back together is holding the image and likeness of the one true self in wholeness and together. So therefore we must hold the masculine and feminine energies in balance. And that balance is the energy of the nature or gods and goddesses of Herakuti and Ma'at, or the planets Mars and Jupiter, or the principles of right, might versus right. And so, these must be held in balance, that Herakuti and Ma'at must, which is the law, the universal law of how we may assert the self, the right to assert the fullness of the one true self without transgressing against the one and the same right that others have to assert the same one true self in fullness, without diminishment, without truncation. So that feminine warrior is for justice and right relationship, to protect that which would rob, that which would rape, that which would diminish, that which would injure, and that which would annihilate. It's the call to wholeness, not fragmentation. So the divine feminine is the upholder of those universal laws and the right to assert the fullness of the one true self without diminishment. And so I invite all of you, beloved, and those who will be in the listening audience, to be aware now with this awakening now and honoring now and celebration of the divine feminine, that we become aware of the mother's renewed and renewing reflective clarity and receptivity to the Father upon the clear, limpid surface of the waters within, because that's the experience of unification of mother and father, or Sir or Set, the divine marriage taking place within, as the mother now in her clarity and stillness reflects the one true self-realized beingness. And when we can have that emotional peace on earth, that Father, that divine image is reflected in its full glory. So, thank you all.
Oh,
Oh my God. Goddess. Oh
yes.
my goddess. Oh my goddess.
Did you feel the peace? Did you feel that? Did you feel that, Brother Nteri? Did you feel that?
I did. May I share a few words in the inspiration of what just happened here? Can I share a few words, really? I'm just so thankful for everyone that has appeared today and your beauty. Women, I thank you. Your beauty shines beyond this world. Life forms and gives birth through you. You are the vehicle of divine life, God's expression. Beloved woman, truly, thank you for being the doorway and connection to beyond this world, where we all come from and we must return. Your touch is caring, sensitive, and gentle empath. You are patience, positivity, potency, and peace. Divine characteristics is your electricity. Sincerely appreciate, love you, fantastic female. Your humility vibrates awesome power, transcending the physical, taming the mental, transmuting the emotional. Goddess materializes her vision into physical reality from the formless spiritual identity of being. It's you, wonderful woman, who woman best, loving kindness, the sacred express. From your heart of love and concern, silence impacts, affects, and influence without words. As your presence fortify into awakening remembrance, blind eyes begin to see. Thankfully, you, beloved woman, are divine light. Light on, sister. Sight on, mothers. Recite on, daughters. Reunite on, grandmothers. Gratefully thankful, genuinely appreciative of your presence, beloved.
Woo! Oh, well, I have a list over here written down. You covered it all, my brother. You covered it all rhythmically as you usually do. Ashe. So it is, right, my darling sisters and the brothers. So appreciated.